Today's episode of the Fintech Combine is brought to you by our sponsor, Auvo. Credit unions are built on relationships, but managing risk and collections can sometimes get in the way of focusing on your members. That's where Auvo comes in. Auvo is transforming collections and risk management with groundbreaking AI-driven solutions. Their platform doesn't just streamline operations, it empowers your team to make smarter, faster decisions while keeping the member experience front and center. Whether you're looking to reduce losses, increase efficiency, or unlock new insights from your data, Auvo helps you turn challenges into opportunities. Learn more at auvo.com. That's AKUVO.com. Auvo, smarter solutions, stronger relationships.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Fintech Combine. I am your host, Kris Kovacs, and this is the series where we talk with and sometimes about community-based institutions, their digital and business transformation projects, and we meet the innovators, entrepreneurs, and fintechs that make it all possible. On this episode, we're meeting with Karan Bhalla, who is the founder of AI Vantage, about his journey in starting another great company serving credit unions. So if you're ready, let's suit up and get out on the field. Karan, I want to say welcome to the show. Thank you very much for joining us today. For those who don't know you, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and about your company, AI Vantage?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much again. Honor to be here, Chris. Always a joy. Walk away learning. I love those kind of conversations. Walk away learning things, and every time I talk to you, I feel like I do. So a little bit about me personally. I've been in banking for about 25 years, banking, credit unions, financial services for about 25 years. I started right out of school with Capital One. I remember I got a signing bonus and it was a big deal. Anyway, out of Richmond, was with Capital One and did some consulting subsequent to that. I was with them for about 6 years, 7 years, and then did some consulting with a couple of big companies.
Right.
And then about 12 years ago, got an opportunity, thank you to the Iowa League. As a result of a partnership with the Iowa League, we got an opportunity to get into the credit union world.
Mm-hmm.
They had a company called the Members Group, TMG,
Yep.
yes, which then got acquired by Co-op and provided a lot of payment processing, full service, in-house, all kinds of different payment processing, and wanted to bring data analytics into it. My background prior to that had all been marketing related, primarily marketing related at Cap One, which was a leader in that space.
And highly analytical.
Highly analytical.
Known for their analytics on the
Known for their
side.
M&A at Capital One was marketing and analysis. And no jokes. I mean, and then they did many things. Marketing and understanding their customer base or their consumer base was one thing they were very, very pigeonholed on. They were really good at it. And so it was interesting bringing that, and it was very satisfying, by the way. Credit union work has been very satisfying. I'll tell you why as we go on. But bringing that kind of technology into the credit union world was a big opportunity, and Iowa League saw that.
Right.
And so they actually had invested into a company, and I came into that opportunity to lead the credit union business. It's 12 years, and now my third venture, and I can't see myself working in any other industry. I absolutely love the people, love what we do. And I think that there's a constant interest in this industry to, if not adopt, at least learn about what's going on in this world. And I think we have to obviously to survive. So a little bit about that journey, how we came to be AI Vantage. I was part of an organization that brought in that analytics as a back-end service to TMG, then started a CUSO called CURISE, which we moved into predictive analytics. And then last year started AI Vantage with a focus on AI, again, very focused on credit unions. And it's been very interesting because every time we've been doing this, the first conversation has been, you get a roundtable of CEOs, credit union CEOs, very interested. I got to know what's going on with this AI thing, or I got to know what's going on with predictive or big data. So I'm going back, and within the first 5 or 10 seconds, there's a glazed over look like, "Well, I'm not ready for this," or "I don't know how to do this." Yeah. So I've tried to be sort of really to think of things that will impact and evolve and impact our industry within the next few years. Constantly been thinking about it.
You moving from marketing analytics early days, you were going to big data, now doing AI. You really seem to be riding like the very front crest of that technology. How do you stay there? How do you know what's coming?
It's kind of interesting is even though it seems like it's a wide spectrum of things that I've been doing, I've found I'm tremendously interested in marketing and how people and consumers react to the world around us. I used to think of myself. I used to think of myself as an early adopter of things. Now I think of my kids as early adopters of things, right? You know, and so as I watch them, like what is happening in this world? So one thing is I'm not as distracted as it might seem. So even with big data, it was all about how can I give you information and activities that can eventually reach the members? How can we be member facing in things? The next at CURISE, it was a lot about predictive models. Can we find a way, next best product, next best action? So not always do you have to sell a product, it might be an action. And again, member facing, how can we find ways to better engage with our members? And so when AI rolled around, my first thought was, what's going on in this world? And obviously there's a lot of underwriting tools or document management tools.
Chatbots.
Chatbots. Oh boy, chatbots. At Innovate last year, that's I think all I heard about that and knowledge repositories. And so, and interesting, what we do is still not there. So I started thinking, well, what does this mean for actual member facing world? And I thought I came up with this really unique idea: hyperpersonalization, one-to-one hyperpersonalization. Now, if you think you've got a really good idea, Kris, Google it. You'll find like 10,000 people out there have the same idea. So nothing is that unique anymore. But so we're actually part of a small cohort of folks that are actively trying to develop and pursue hyper-personalization. We are definitely early on in that journey and early adopters of it. But the focus has been hyper-personalization and AI. And so a little bit has been knowing those sort of the track that you're on, knowing where you can focus. Technology and marketing has been the focus of it. So as I'm thinking about new ideas, new innovation, it has constantly been brought back to that.
You exited your early company through an acquisition.
Yes.
What did you learn from that you have brought forward into AIVantage?
I learned a lot, and this is would be the third time. The first thing I think is that stay true to your commitments you make on the exit, and this is more of a personal thing. Okay, in fact, is when CURISE was acquired by Trellins, and even if I go back, the promises that Trellins made to me and our leadership, and vice versa. We made sure that we stayed true to that. So stuck on both sides did. And so that's I think a big part. And I think realizing that this is an industry, and it's not even an industry. I'm a strong believer in karma. So I think just staying true to it. The other thing that I've realized is that I really do enjoy the trying to be on the forefront of things. And I think as you get into bigger organizations, it's just bigger ships, harder to move, harder to maneuver. And so that was a little bit of why I was itching to start AIVantage too. It was that time had come. I've been at Trellins for 3 years, and it was just time to start something and be out there trying to think about what innovation you can bring in the industry. So I think realizing the limitations of the role that you're in and starting to think about it. And I'll be honest with you, and I shouldn't probably say this on camera, but
well, if it's really bad, we'll edit it out.
Well, I'll let you decide. But probably the last 4 to 5 months. When I knew that I was getting ready to think about what I wanted to do next, I was already thinking about where the innovation might lie and where it doesn't fit into the industry. So I used a little bit of my personal time to start thinking about what would be new and truly transformative for this world, for this great industry world.
No, that's great. Talk a little bit about your vision for AIVantage. Like when you did this soul searching, you did this thinking about kind of where you wanted to bring and what you wanted to bring to the industry. What's your vision for what AIVantage does?
There's a few things that have. Well, our vision is breaking barriers to innovation. Okay. We have a tagline and we are committed to that. So, and if you ever see a presentation of ours, we talk about breaking barriers to innovation. That's a vital part of everything that we try to do. So I think if I were to summarize it, we want to be innovative. We want to find a way to push the limits on things. Ethical AI is a big part of it. So I don't want to spend too much time on that. Maybe we can come back to that. So in an ethical manner, just push the limits of what we can do with innovation and engaging with members. So, but if I would take a step back, as I think about like a longer term vision for organization, AI will impact our lives. Is already impacting our lives in ways we don't even know. And the ways we probably can't even understand, from innovation in how we think, in how we interact, to how we staff, to how we grow, to what products we offer, to how the world will probably even be shifted from economic situations. So it's all of this is going to happen. So my vision for the product is, and I'll come to it in a second, and it'll make sense when I explain this. like I said, my focus has always been marketing.
Right.
And what I've seen happen, and it's really been hard for mid and small size FIs, which is our target marketplace. Everybody is now responsible. Traditional marketers were, what is my brand? How do I communicate? What colors do I use? How do I want to make my members feel?
Right.
That was the creative marketer job. Marketers were meant to be creative. I'm the least creative person you're going to run into. So I know that that's a skill that is highly, highly valuable in people. Well, today, mid and small size organizations are expected to have that and then a very technical marketer.
Yeah.
Which is, how do I use the tools around me? How do I extract the data to run a campaign?
Yep.
How do I place it and create? Do I use Canva, Figma, HubSpot? How do I exclude my unsubscribes? All of these things have sort of morphed this role. And what my vision is to really step in and assist those technical marketers.
Gotcha.
I would love, and it's on my roadmap, that we can have a situation where literally you can go and say, I want to target. I want to find a way to better engage with my younger members with the products that they need.
Mm-hmm.
And if the market, and you click, and it triggers a series of actions, which are literally just check the boxes, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no.
Yeah.
And in a matter of 15 minutes, you have found a way to reach those specific members with exactly what they want to hear about, exactly what they need. And our plan is to get to that by the end of next year.
So I think our entire economy as a nation is actually being worked over by AI right now. I think that's part of what we're seeing in this strange jobs world that's existing right now. What do credit union executives, and we're not talking about all of them, right? There's certainly some who are very on top of it, but what do they not understand about the effects AI is going to have on their business?
By the way, I live in Northern Virginia, DC area, and I spend a lot of time here. And so I will say this: it is in the world around us. I know the federal government is spending a lot of time and effort into it. So it's, when the government's starting to lead things like that, it is a matter of time before it permeates across all other industries.
Yeah.
So it is. I think one of the big things is, what do our execs not understand? One thing that has happened in the last couple of years is, this is true with perhaps with any technology, is there's that resistance to change.
Yeah,
so we are definitely at the cusp of, I think, institutions realizing that if they don't start looking at it, they will fall behind. It's a leap that they need to start making. That leap of faith, perhaps it's a planned leap. So there's a little bit of the pushes. The execs that haven't done it, I think they need to start thinking about how they can bring in those, whether it's a simple use case or whether it's a good thing, bring in AI to the organization. What do they not understand is, I think, to the extent of what it's going to be impacting you. So like, if I'm starting to think about, let's just say resourcing, because I know that comes up a lot. Will I lose my job to AI? I don't think people will necessarily in the near term, in the next 2 years. If anybody tells you they know what's happening 5 years down the road, they're lying. It's a guess. But in the next 2 years, I don't think people will lose their jobs over AI. But I think what you have to start thinking about is, if I had a plan to hire 4 people in the next 2 years in the department, maybe I hire 2, and I think about using some of that budget that I've saved now too into reinventing how I. So I think that's something that our credit union execs we're so focused on people helping people that we're not thinking that people leveraging technology to help people. Yeah, I think that's the shift that we need to start thinking about. Yeah, and some are. I don't want to minimize I've met some very, very innovative in technology. I mean, you're in this industry, so really some leaders who are thought leaders in this space who are thinking about it. But I think as a broad industry, our resistance to not pushing the limits, at least in use cases and samples and tests, is something that's lacking.
Yeah, so for everyone's information, we're currently at the Maryland DC Credit Union Association Tech Summit.
Yeah.
And yesterday on stage, Omar Jordan, friend of ours, mutual friend of ours, Omar from Coviance, he threw out on stage that, you can ask AI right now to build you an LOS, right? And this is something that if you use tools like Lovable.dev and others, it can be done in minutes, right?
Yeah.
I sometimes think we're using kind of the localized experiences of ChatGPT.
Yeah.
But that is really just the very tip of the iceberg of what's happening out there.
Yeah.
I've heard of firms, larger companies who are saying, you know what, I'm tired of paying Salesforce.
Yeah.
And they go to AI and they go to a developer and they say, build me a CRM system, and they're doing it in fractions of the time.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's going to have a huge impact on credit unions in the long run. a lot more ability to self-determine where they want to go.
Yeah, the whole concept of yeah, I guess agentic AI. The way I describe it to folks that are still getting into it is almost like the RPA of AI.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's how it starts. I think of it exactly the same way. Starts with RPA, then you put an agent on top of it.
yeah.
Yep.
So you've got your processes, and it goes back to where you started. If you think you're the first person thinking of something, so identity verification. People have thought about it. It's been around for a long time. There's AI built into it now. So if you want to have a set of processes, and there's a overarching AI process around it, it can trigger things just like one after the other, and a bunch of
Right.
clauses that'll trigger it. And so I think to Omar's point, spot on. Not only can we need to move our mind beyond just this is one thing that AI can do
Yes.
to it can do six things in synchrony with a lot of sort of conditionals in there.
Yeah.
Like if you're a traditional programmer, think of it as you don't need to write in what ifs anymore. What if statements, right? They're all already in there.
Yeah.
And AI can determine the best course of what that what if should be.
Yeah, the programming language of the future is going to be English.
Yeah, if it isn't already. I mean, in our own dev cycles and our own dev teams, we're using a lot of low code, no code. I mean, I know that's still a little old stuff now, but
It's all building blocks to this.
it's all building blocks. How did we get here?
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
And so, yeah, we're absolutely. I think a lot of our programming is being done significantly faster. Significantly. I have friends who are in like the app dev space and stuff, and they can turn around like what used to take them 6 months, take them 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So the rate of change. Coming back to what should execs be thinking about. When I was at Capital One, we were exclusively a credit card company.
Right.
And at that time, there was a thing that you had to reinvent your card product, any financial product, every 7 years.
Right.
If you are and by the way, if you are reinventing your product every 7 years today, you are so far behind the curve. And I wish we were actually doing it every 7 years. I would say many credit unions aren't, but you're in a 2 to 3 year product dev cycle in terms of rolling out new evolution for your products, and that will happen with that kind of innovation in AI.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
So, like, if I want to have a new credit card product, or how do I offer new rewards, or embed with different merchants? I'm talking about business products, not even sort of tech products.
Yeah.
That used to happen every 7 years, and that's gotten down to at least 3 years, if not less.
Yeah.
And the tech behind that has gotten so much faster.
Yeah.
So, if I want to say come up with a new sensitivity analysis on my call center data, I mean, you could do that with some of the tools out there with AI out there in a matter of weeks, or perhaps even less.
Yeah.
But I'm just being safer because we test it.
Has the use of AI from a development tool impacted the size of the organization that you need to field in order to bring your product to market?
So we are talking to a credit union that's $35 million.
Wow.
And so I think there are 6 people on staff. And I could, in professional services. So originally the first venture I was part of was largely professional services. With CURISE, we were hybrid. We had predictive model products and we had professional services. Now we're largely a product company.
Right.
And I think from a product standpoint and professional services standpoint, we could never serve somebody that small.
Right.
You had to have them come as a consortium.
Right.
Or a group, and had to have the same core and and to do anything. Now, we're talking to them. We're going to probably roll out with them in the next couple of months. They're on board. It has significantly reduced the size of organizations, and that's a blessing. I mean, it's technology was perhaps a lot of these organizations say we're burdened with all these things that we had to keep up. We have so much regulation to keep up with that we can't invest in technology. It's also made it cheaper. Yeah, it's made it cheaper, faster.
Yep.
So I think it's given some of our smaller credit unions more of a fighting chance.
That's a great perspective. It used to be, I heard a stat one time that said it would take 30 people to bring a product to market in the past. Right.
Wow.
Now you can do it with 3. So,
I believe
but the challenge for the credit unions and for leaders in any industry, frankly, is that now instead of having 30 people deliver one product for your consideration, you have 30 people delivering 10 products for your consideration. So the noise in the market for them is incredibly high right now. If somebody's considering an AI investment or a solution, what should they look out for?
So, when you said now with 30 people, you can bring more products. This is a whole fail fast. So recognize you fail fast. So identifying the winners, if they can spend a little bit more time up front in knowing what is it going to really mean for me
Right.
in a solution. For a small credit union, which isn't going to take too many chances,
Right.
barely any, maybe one, maybe two. I think you got to think of a solution that fits a problem and a problem that you
Solve
have
a
today.
problem.
Solve a problem. For the larger ones, I think you need to have innovation labs, like you mentioned, or innovation centers. Um, test day in day out. Figure out what's going to be meaningful for you. From an AI standpoint, I put my marketing hat on, and I'll tell you, I would tell. I think this is one of the reasons we had the success we had, because everything that I would do, or our organizations would, I shouldn't say I, because there's a big team behind us, but everything that we would do would be, it had to be impacted, it had to be positively impacting our member downstream.
Right.
So when you're thinking about making these decisions around how do I jump in, think of an AI innovation, know your members expect it. I mean, my son has a 3-second attention span. I don't even know what he's got. Like, going, how long does it take on TikTok before you decide you're going to watch it? I think it's 3 seconds.
It probably is. My boys probably aren't that long.
Well, that's the other thing about it is, like, I may not even be 3 seconds.
Yeah,
It's like, I'm trying to think, if I watch their hands, they're moving faster than 3 seconds. So what are you doing to make something meaningful for your members that will that they'll spend more than 3 seconds on your
Right.
Because
Right.
they're very quick even at identifying the videos and the ads now. I mean, they know exactly what they're looking at.
Yeah.
So, how do you stand out? And so take on a project that differentiates you a little bit, or that resonates what your mission might be as a credit union.
Yep.
If you're a seg that focuses on something, take on an AI project that taps into a little bit around that.
Right. Right.
That's a lot of what we built. I mean, our entire focus on hyper-personalization is, we now, well, I remember when I started credit unions, and mind you, this is 2012. So if you go back even another 10 years, and credit unions are still talking about this, like, we know our members so well. The truth of it is, do we? Like, we've gotten bigger. Most credit unions have gotten bigger. Even if you are 35 million in credit, you probably were 10 million back then.
Yeah.
So you've gotten bigger. Members barely come to your branches. Technology is what everybody's using. Do you really know your members?
Market share hasn't gone up.
Market share hasn't gone up. We're here 7 to 9%.
Yep.
Now, and the irony of this is at the time when you have more data about your members than you ever did. And no matter how small you are, you have access to more data about your members than you ever did. Like, so we should know our members better. And so what I'm liking about AI and what we've built is let's use that information to make things a little bit more personal to your members. How do you get them to spend that extra few seconds on? How do you get them to have the retention value that X credit union or whatever credit union you're representing means something? So this is where I come back to leverage AI, bring your uniqueness in from your organization, and be willing to take that chance.
Do you think that opportunity for personalization can counteract the shiny object attractiveness of asymmetric players like Chime and SoFi? Like, if we really connect with somebody and say, this isn't my grandpa's credit union because they know me. Do you think that helps bridge the gap?
It's got to. Chime had a great head start with an idea. I'm going to pay your comp 2 days earlier.
Yeah.
What did they go from? I think in 2020 they had 8 million customers. Today they have 25 million.
They're bigger,
not active, but
they're bigger than Navy Federal in 10 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
And from 8 to 20, but just in the last 4 or 5. I will never forget. And this is not. I don't even know who came up with this, but it's not what you say, but it's how you made me feel. If you can take personalization and change the way of how you make me feel, why wouldn't you remember my way? Why wouldn't you leave a mark?
Yeah.
And you say it right, and you have the right intentions. I think it'll be a huge differentiator for you, because Chime is still trying to grow their business. And absolutely, they're making funds available a little bit sooner.
Now publicly traded, so now they've got quarterly earnings calls they got to make.
and so their mission and their visions are changing. You still stand for what you believe from the start. Even if your charter has grown, even if your segs have grown, whatever it is, your fundamental mission of people helping people or helping communities hasn't changed. If you bring that authenticity and are able to get people to sort of feel better about it, we have one of our pilots is with a charitable giving organization. Okay. Another CUSO, actually. NetGiver.
Yeah.
So we work
NetGiver,
with
great company.
Great company. We work with NetGiver. When you make a donation through NetGiver today, every time that confirmation email that goes, so say you donate $10 to the SPCA, right? That email that goes out from NetGiver today, it's used from the back end as our tool, and it will tell you not only, so traditionally it will say, thank you, Kris, for your $10 donation to SPCA. We thank you, etc. Today, it'll factor in things like, well, you've been consistently donating to SPC over the last year. So thank you for being an increasing donor over the years. We value the fact that you've been with us and supporting the SPCA for X amount of time.
Right.
Your donation really does support helping. Let's just say you're in Atlanta.
Raleigh.
Raleigh. Oh, that's
Raleigh,
Raleigh.
yeah.
Sorry. Let's just say. So your donation is helping support and prevent cruelty against animals in the Raleigh area.
Yeah.
And so we're bringing it a lot more. So when you read that email, if you
Yeah.
spend that extra time, not only do you spend a little bit more time because it hits home, we know so much more about you now as a donor.
Right.
So it's a personal email that's going on. That's out there from that organization. So, so Eric Berg and I talk about this, and it's like the walkaway effect we want is not necessarily will you donate more and all this. We want you to feel good about that donation.
Right.
If a credit union can send a message like that, wouldn't the member feel better about it? Won't you stand out a little bit differently than Chime?
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're trying to get to.
And I think that use case really highlights the thought that your service could be used by fintechs and by credit unions.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
In fact, we have, there's multiple partnerships that we're in the works on. We have a partnership with MAP, Member Access Processing.
Yep.
That's the one that's probably I can talk a little bit more openly about, but there's a couple of others that are organizations, either leagues or CUSOs or fintechs serving credit unions
Yes.
that are offering this as a capability.
That's great.
Yeah, for sure. When we started building this product, the thought was, well, we could serve government, healthcare. Imagine if your doctor sends you a message. My doctor sends me a message, hey, Karan, you haven't refilled your gout medication.
Yeah.
You better do it, otherwise, you're going to start having some serious side.
I know that pain.
Right. As do I. That's why I brought it up. And I am occasionally sloppy about it.
Yeah.
So start making personal. I might think twice if he reminds me of the side effects,
Yeah.
or reminds me of what I'm going to go through if I don't.
Yeah.
And so we very quickly realized that we would go broke building a product for many industries. So we brought it back to what we knew.
Yeah.
But the initial case, the use cases were like all over government.
Yeah.
Government. So anyway, so I think that it's cross industry, but as we brought it back to the mid and small size FI space, we've realized that the fintechs that serve this space are also very, very, potentially big market for us.
Yeah. From an entrepreneur's perspective, what advice would you give someone trying to bring a product into the financial services arena or into the credit union industry specifically?
I think you have to tap into your strengths. I don't know the studies behind this, but this is, if you ask some of my personal experiences, one is you have to be willing to take some risks, first of all, obviously. But when I say tap into your strengths, like when we started off, I talked about like I know marketing, or if you've been in lending, then think about how innovation or technology or AI can transform the space that you know well.
Mm-hmm.
People who are true entrepreneurs are constantly thinking about that. And they're thinking about that in the space they know.
Yeah.
No doubt. I mean, we could go out and try to think about building a solution for, a completely the real estate market.
Yeah.
Try to find a way to do that. But I think where I would find the most success would be in something that I'm really, really,
Gotcha.
that I know well, that I'm passionate about, and that I can put myself in the user's shoes.
Right.
I think that's a big part of it. And we have a friend locally that Capstone Strategic, John Darren, everyone knows John, and this must be 6 years ago, we engaged them for a strategy project, and he said one of the things that came out of it, he said, was focus is your friend. As an entrepreneur, when you're you will find you walk into any opportunity and you're thinking about my tech can do this, or that would be a great add-on to this, and knowing where it fits in and where it doesn't fit in.
Yes.
Is very important, because that is something that you very quickly can make that funnel so wide that nothing will get done.
Yes.
And so we literally, I think, probably every couple of weeks, if not more often than that, as an exec group, sit down, and I think we throw out the word focus is our friend. It comes up in some, oh God, I had this conversation, this would be a great thing for us to do. And then somebody else will say, if focus is our friend, does this fit in? Like, something like that. And so I think that's
incredibly powerful. I mean, I've seen the effect that could have for some companies. They're chasing the next sale, and they'll do anything they have to do to get it, even if it takes them wildly off course from where they were.
Well, just that whole NetGiver example, Eric's got his own vision of a lot of things that he wants to do, but we have the very sort of candid conversations around the fact that if there's something that we are going to do for him,
Yeah.
it has to fit into our product.
Yeah.
And he's been obviously very accommodating to that.
Yeah.
But and I think that bringing it back to what you're trying to accomplish will get you. It may seem a little bit more painful up front, but
Yeah.
it will get you further faster.
Brilliant.
We launched our solution, and we've been very accommodating with our first few pilots. Like we said that the first 10 pilots, we will take our first 10 POCs.
Yeah.
We'll take all the feedback back, and we will try our best to bring all of those features into the product, because that's where we're learning from. That's the
Yep.
user experience,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
No better test. And so we're very active, and we started in April. We started sort of signing up POCs, and we're now in 7 pilots. Right?
That's great.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. My chief revenue officer, Ben Rempe, him and I joke because we have 100% success rate on our demos. In the sense is nobody walks, it clicks. Anybody who sees it loves it, and it's just a matter of getting it done. So we have to be careful about which POCs we take on as well,
Right.
because we know how much work and how much what version that's going to come in.
Yeah.
And so we bring it back. So this focus of your friend is not just in terms of ideas, but it's also in terms of how you sort of continue to bring that roadmap back to what you had. How does it align with that vision that you start off with?
Yeah. Do you think that your POCs and the ones you select with are they in any way related to you being a CUSO? Do you think that helps that discussion? Some folks who are watching this may not know what a CUSO is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about how that fits into your strategy.
Well, so we are not restricted or limited to credit unions or to credit unions. We can do community banks. In fact, we have a couple of community bank clients as well. But I will say that our last 4 POCs that we've sold, 7 that we said, the first 3 were either CUSOs or non-credit union focused.
Sure.
The last 4 have been credit unions. And so it's a focus thing. We're not restricted to it. I think being a CUSO is a bit of a focusing point. It's I guess it's a beacon of sorts that reminds you what you are. We've been entrusted with credit union funding because we have some funding from credit unions, and I think it would only be fair. We'd be doing a disservice to the industry if we didn't have that as a focal point for us. So I don't know if I answered your question, but we're not restricted to it. Like I said, we'll work with community banks. But if I were to think about big innovation or big rollouts, or where do we spend our time and getting client feedback, even the community bank, it's funny actually. So we work with a bank, and I don't think I can actually name them, but they are also, as I have conversations with them, it reminds me of credit unions.
Yeah.
And so there are community banks that, from a mission standpoint, are very, let's support and build a community.
Yeah.
So it goes back to a little bit of the credit union mentality, and I found that those are the organizations on the banking side that we are more accommodating to as well.
Yeah, there's very much an overlap between the community value of a community bank and a community credit union.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. I've always believed that that's not where the competition is. The competition's in the big money center banks, and
if you really want to move
digital startups.
If you really want to move the needle as an industry, you're talking about the other side of this. Like you said, we're 9% of assets. Community banks might be another 7, 8, 9%. Right. So how do you find a way to actually get into the bigger players that you can transform and disrupt them?
So if a credit union is interested in learning more about your product, how do they reach you? How do they find out more?
Yeah. So we are at AIVantage.global, AIVantage.global. You can look me up, Karan Bhalla, on LinkedIn. I mean, I'm very responsive. I don't want to say I'm more responsive, but this is an area that we're here to help in. So I think that being service minded reflects, and I'd like to think, in everything we do. So if anybody is able to get a hold of us that way, we're very, very quick to respond and spend time. Coming back to sort of this whole journey of going from big data to predictive analytics to now AI. When we started off talking about big data, and I told you the interest levels and stuff, we didn't get a lot of sales early on.
Right.
It was first thing was all about education and awareness. Yeah. This is why big data is important. This is why business intelligence is important. I used to have this picture, and I used to paint this picture when I'd go, and I say, like, as a CEO, wouldn't he or she want to walk into their office and turn around and have this like TV screen at the back or on the side somewhere that was in real time telling them how many members are at either any topic
That's the
in the
CEO's
branches.
dream.
Yes, and it's your text messaging example today.
Mhm.
Why does that not exist? I mean, it
Yeah.
really should. The tech
Yeah.
exists.
Yeah.
They should know exactly how many members in that moment
Yep.
are active or any are members of the
Yep.
credit union.
Yep.
And so it was. You'd have to paint that kind of a picture, and then they would start thinking, yeah, how do I get to that point? So painting sort of a vision,
Strong
a
vision.
little bit for those organizations, for execs at the credit unions, for leaders in that space, was the way we sort of got business
Yeah.
intelligence and data, big data popular. We're a little bit in the same spot in AI right now.
Yeah.
So we're spending a lot of our time. We're having an AI roundtable tomorrow.
Awesome.
In Tyson's Corner. And our entire focus is around, let's get people excited about this idea. Let's show them some of the things that they can do. It doesn't have to be with us. Obviously, we'd love that.
Yeah.
But if we can spearhead education and thought leadership in it, the rest will follow. The industry will move, progress. So coming back to reaching out.
so
So
the
a lot of it
message
is just
is-
around education.
So the message is, even if you're not ready to buy today, but you're ready to learn today,
110%.
you should be talking.
We're doing board strategy sessions where it doesn't. 8 out of 10 times they may not need to sell. They're still trying to build their vision around it. Early stage investment in time. And so when you said, how do you reach out? Reach out knowing that we're happy to help in any way if it helps this movement.
Great point. My friend, always good to see you.
Likewise.
Okay.
Wow, 40 minutes went by.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
What an absolutely amazing episode, Karan. Thank you very much for joining us. If you want to find out more, check out his website. We'll put it in the show notes. If you like this content, please like and subscribe on your platform of choice. Visit us on our LinkedIn channel, and we will see you next time.